acknowledgements from the device. So anything about real time or about communication is not possible with the Express. Enterprise is the only license which allow you to use a centralized server with many clients connected to. So you have one database, it can be even a virtual machine, that pull all of the data from the devices to the specific component for this device on the server. And the client connected to the internet or to the same network that the enterprise server is part of this network, then any client can be connected to the enterprise. Now, such clients, the admin of the enterprise can set different levels of users, of clients. So if you will go to pqscada.com, you remember this is the demonstration server we have here in Elspec. You can see there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 components in different parts of the world. Each one of those has a public IP, and the pqscada, this enterprise server, pulling the data from those components. Okay, the one Elspec North America is currently not pingable or username and password, or there is some fault in the communication, but the other 5 are continuously pulling the data. You can see now Elspec HQ G4K was just now, as we speak, pull the data. Here now Elspec Portugal is scanning for new PQZip files on this instrument. If there are new files, it will download and process those. If there is not, it will try again. In this case, I guess it's the default every 2 minutes. You can change this rate of scan. So if you take a look at Elspec Portugal, you can see the data is updated until 4th March, which is today, 15 and 11 minutes, which is 5 minutes ago. Actually, it's not as, but if we take a look here, this one, and not the last one, the oldest one, because when it's the last one, it may be the last download one, the oldest one. Yeah. Here you can see when it is updated until 1 minute ago in this one. Yeah. So now this is the enterprise, but the enterprise is not installed on my server. My client, which is not an enterprise, in this case, my client is the local machine is professional. It can be also an express. It can be even a non-license. I just installed it from the server, and I can click connect, put the URL, the address of the server, which need to be on the same network or public, or in the network of the site or the company. You need to put username and password. Now, what I started to explain before is that the admin can make different users with passwords. So it can be split on the level of what is the what are the things that the user can do or cannot do. So one user can be the admin. Another user cannot set password and users to the others, but it can do all of the rest. Another one also cannot delete data. Another one cannot even configure a specific component. For me, I'm now logged in with the demo user. I cannot go to data acquisition and processing and change anything here. I cannot shift the time, and you understand. So one can be only read only, the other one can have some write capabilities, but not all of those. And there's also another option to allow one user to access only 1 and 2 components, and the rest will be blocked. So if you have a person working a site in the north of the country, he can only access the data in the north of the country. So this is the capabilities to set permissions. And as you understand, it's only on enterprise, because enterprise is the only server that can serve many different clients. So if you have a big company or big site with many devices, and there are also many users, engineers, managers, operators, technicians, that should access the data, it will be better for such customer to purchase the enterprise, and all of the users can just install the free of charge Express, and the customer will set the permissions and the users. Okay, so this is the main special feature of the enterprise. In addition, the enterprise allows you to set to connect to or to have email alerts, text message alerts, secondary server, many features that are part of the enterprise, while the professional and the express are both locally. So about the installation, you only need to install the client, but if you install the enterprise, you also need to install a service. It's also using a service. Okay, this is about the license. We pretty much explained it. Okay.
Oh, Tomer,
Okay.
Tomer,
Yeah.
can you explain about the advanced settings about search and you can click on the advanced settings.
Where? Query settings?
No. Here in this screen.
Ah, okay. Yes, we will get to this. It's part of, if we will finish the investigation, we'll move to system and we will discuss the configurations of the components and the configuration of the server.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start, guys. So last time we talked about the investigation module. We already know how to start an investigation, either from an already available component in our database, one of those, or from to browse or upload new data from file folder or from FTP folder. Okay, then we are opening an investigation. So we already discussed about the preferences. What is investigation? What is a view? And what is the chart? We also discussed this toolbar. We also discussed the share option, save option, export option. And I believe we also discussed about the chart menu, the actions for the chart. Now, let's today, actually, we only still for the investigation, the only thing we still need to go is to go over this menu. So we understand the hide chart legend box. We understand the change chart background color. We also understand the normalized display mode. This is something we did not discuss, save as template. Do you know this one, or you would like me to explain about this one? Yeah. You understand? Okay. Okay, let me show you the following. I will now import PQZip files. Some PQZip file, I can take only one, and you will see an investigation will be open. Now, how this investigation is going to open? With which charts, with which channels, phase to neutral, phase to phase, maybe with few views, more than one view. This is basically the template for PQZip file. A PQZip file will always be open with frequency, okay? I think this is 200 milliseconds, with RMS voltage. I believe this is half a cycle or cycle phase to neutral, with RMS current, with negative sequence, with PST, and with PHT. Now let me do the following. I would like PQZip files always to be open in different view. I do not want the PST. I do not want the negative sequence. What I would like to have when I'm opening a PQZip file is the frequency, the RMS voltage, THD current, and THD voltage. So I will add those. And I would like also to have tolerances. You remember we talked about tolerances?
Yes.
Many times I get recordings from customers. First thing I would check is that the recording is good and there is no problem with the recording. So I would like also to have the tolerances. So I will add this as well. The tolerances are available under channel. Okay, and now I would like always to open PQZip files with this template. So I will go to Save Template, not for events, but for file. Topology, I can set this to be open face to neutral only for Y topology and maybe face to face for delta topology, or I can just leave it as any, and file type PQZip. So now if I will open again a PQZip file, let's take another one. You will see it will be open not with the Flickr PST PLT and not with the negative sequence. It will be open with those parameters.
Perfect.
Okay. Now this might be very useful. Maybe you would like to set your a client. This, by the way, those configurations, those templates are part of the client. Okay, so if you are connected now to enterprise server, one client will open with the templates of his client, and another user with the templates of their own client. So, for example, if I will do the following now, I will close this. And I will open another chart here. This is an event chart. I will take power quality events. I don't care about system event, about digital in-out, about custom. So I will have here many events. For example, deep. Okay, so I can open a deep. Let me group those maybe. So a deep will be open with RMS, phase to neutral, and with a phasor diagram. Now, I might be interesting also to create a similar one. Paula? Daisy? A similar one, but for delta. I would like, in case I would like to have a face-to-face used for delta, okay, and also for the phasors. Instead of the phase to neutral. And I will set this as a template, save as template for any event in specific topology of delta. So now if I will have a delta topology recordings and I will have a dip, I will be able to double click this event, this dip, to open it, and it will be open in face-to-face parameters. The same you can also have for example, for transient. For example, transients I would like to see on the waveform. So I already made my own template for transient. So as you can see, I would like to see here the harmonic waveform. We discussed this parameter before, the fundamental waveform, and the measured waveform. Okay, so this is about templates. Okay, so let's move on. We switch this back to base to neutral. Okay, so let's go back to this action menu, and then we have, after save a template, an export option. We can export this to Word. Okay, so this is in case you would like to generate a report. You remember the report we talked about, a report of investigation, the full investigation. So in this case, the report is only for this specific view. You remember the difference between investigation, view, and chart? What is the preference for each one of those?
Okay.
Do you remember what is the preference for investigation? I mean, if I will open and add a new investigation, I will need to select the components, right?
Right.
If I would like to add a new view, the preference will be the time, start and end time. Okay, and for chart, I need to select the specific parameters and the type of chart. Okay. So this is about export to Word, then export to Excel, and export to clipboard. I believe this is clear. We have an option to clone view. Okay, so this is just, it will clone it. It will make it a double in case we would like to do some work on it, and then go back to the original. And we can also add a slave pane. You know what is the slave pane?
No, I don't know.
No, no.
No, okay. If I will click on a slave pane, I can open here another chart, for example, with power factor, let's say. And here I can basically have another investigation. This will be the slave of the main one, of the first one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, what means that if I will zoom in here, I will immediately also zoom here in the slave pane. But the slave pane, if I zoom in, then it will not change the source ones. So I can have a few, like a slave pane for further investigations I would like to make.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have the create new task. Okay. This I will anyway talk about tasks later in the schedule module. But remember that if you make a task here, then you do not need the start time and end time refer to this specific investigation. And we have the vertical and horizontal cross-sell. Okay, I left for us the main thing that I would like to discuss today, and this will be the most of our discussion today, which is the different type of charts. Now, this is also good for you as for sales purpose, and also to show what's interesting for specific customers. For example, a statistics chart is very useful for distribution companies. Trend chart is very useful, and spectrum for maybe investigations or analyzing the data. So there are a few different type of charts. On this page, you can get some brief about what is exactly each one of the charts. The trend, we're already familiar with this, but maybe just one thing you are not familiar yet about the trend, which is the real-time view. So for trend, you have the x-axis as the time always, and the y-axis is always the magnitude or the value. So for example, if I will take here RMS, then I will hide this one. Sorry. Action, add new chart. Sorry. What I wanted to show you is about when you select the time. So it's not a different chart, sorry, it's a different view. Then you go to real time. All of those, I believe, are clear, but for real time, this is a new feature. It's not available in the older versions. I don't remember I think it's available from 3-15. You can hit the next, select the parameter, and get the real-time chart. Let's see if it's work, because for the pickiscat.com yesterday, one of my colleagues had an issue, but you can do it. I can show it to you. As follow. I made a movie about this. Here. Let's take a look. I believe it's 1 minute movie that I made before. So this is the real-time view. You have 3 different options in the real-time view. Waiting for this. Require, okay. And maybe here. I will add a new component for the instrument I have here on my desk. I will create a new component for this instrument. Let's see if this will, and I will ask a real-time view. Select the parameters. Okay. So as you see, you need to have a license for this feature because you need to have a automatic fetching component. So as you can see, it's not only for FTP to pull PQZip files, but this is also a request and response for a specific value. So every time the SCADA send a request and get a response. It can be by Modbus or other real-time protocols, depends on the type of device. With the G4K, it's Modbus or JSON. You can switch between the two, and you will get a real-time view. Okay, so this is a real-time view. Again, you can do it by selecting, instead of time, just select real-time. Yes, Paulo.
When I choose the controller, equalizer controller, at real time, what kind of protocol I need to use? Elcom or Elcom Modbus?
I'm not the expert for the G3 for the solutions. This is, Oscar, I believe, is the one using it, but I know we implemented in the PQ-SCADA a component for the G3. I think the G3, I know it supports Elcom. I'm not sure about Modbus, but in many cases, you have a G4K instrument in the cabin, in the system. So of course you can from the G4K pull the data by Modbus. I'm not sure if the equalizer and ActiveBar are supporting Modbus, but I know those are Elcom. But again, sometimes you have G4K instrument inside, then you can get the Modbus as well.
Okay.
All right. So if you would like additional chart, you need to pause. Okay. Without pausing, I cannot add a new chart. But if I will pause this, so first of all, I can do a digital zoom in and out. Okay, this is digital zoom. And if I would like to add another chart, again, from the 3 possible charts, real-time trend is the one we see. For many parameters, in this case, we see RMS. There's also real-time phasor. For phasor, we will see the differences better if we would choose current. I will hide this one. And you can get real-time information. So again, this is request and response. And the third option is the spectrum. So you can choose a specific harmonic. Just close this. Okay. And you will get the spectrum. Now, just to understand the concept, pay attention that you will see it get fatter and fatter, because it's remember the minimum and maximum. So in case there will be any disturbance, you will see a fat bar. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Probably it's more clear if you look at the current. So you see this one? Oh, here. So there was now a disturbance in the fundamental, and the minimum even was 0. Not sure what was happening. Maybe something interesting, but you can see there is the moving one, but there is also the min max. So it's remember the min and max. So you will have a line between. Okay.
Okay.
So this is about the real-time view. Any questions about this one?
No.
Okay. And let me close this and this and this. Okay, and let's move to the next type of chart, which is the grid. So the output of the grid is just a table. It can be exported also to Excel. Let's take hit the finish. I will hide the upper one. And basically what you get here is, you remember what we discussed about the pixels? The pixels you have available on the screen, so it takes the duration, the end time, the delta between start and end time, and divide it by the number of pixels. That's why you can see the timestamp is not so much round. Okay, it depends on the start time and end time. Okay, but the readings you see here is V1 to V phase 1 to neutral, the minimum, V phase 1 to neutral, the maximum, V phase 2, minimum and maximum, and V phase 3, minimum and maximum. You can also normalize the display mode. Okay, this chart, this action of the chart is different, depends on the chart you are using. So you have export to Excel, you have a split to charts, you can change the resolution, okay, and you can show status column. Just to remind you, the automatic resolution is the total time between start and end of this view divided by the number of pixels. So this is the best possible resolution without merging one pixel to cover many. Okay. You remember the resolution will get better and better if I will zoom in. Then you will have the option to have maybe cycle by cycle or even half cycle. Okay, questions about this type of chart, the grid?
No, Thomas.
Okay, let's go to spectrum. And let's take a look at the chart type of spectrum. We close those two. Okay. For the spectrum, okay, typically you are not doing it over such a long time. So let's zoom a little bit. So I changed this to look over, sorry, it's not 10 minutes. Okay, it's 20 days. So for spectrum view, we do not have the standard zoom in and out. We have some kind of digital zooming option. So you can just drag the x-axis or the y-axis. For me, just a small tip for you guys, I always do the following: disable fundamental, because fundamental is known, and we usually care about the other harmonics. And if you will take a look, if I will disable the fundamental, it will be much easier and more simple to look at. So I will disable fundamental. And now you can see better all of the harmonics. Also for voltage, if I will disable fundamental, now you can see the harmonics. Other interesting things to do with this, you can show min max, you can split to charts, export, etc. Any questions about, okay, maybe now we should discuss the spectrum generally. So as you know, those units which measure with 1024 samples per cycle can basically provide 512 harmonics. For 512 samples, it's 256. And for 256 samples, it is 124 harmonics. So it's always half of the sampling rate, according to Nyquist theory. Now, just remember that the Express, Picoscada Express, unlicensed, offer only up to 50. Now, the standard require only up to until the harmonic 49, I believe, or 25 sometimes, depends on the compliance you are using. So even the Express can be used for the compliance to generate a report. There is no problem. But for customers who need higher harmonics, much more than the standards or compliance talks about, then you should have the professional or enterprise, and depends on the hardware, on the sampling rate of the device. Maybe another thing to remind you is that a very low harmonic, which is below 0.1% of the nominal, if the tolerance set to 0.1, it will be 0, okay? So those zeros are not necessarily in real time were measured as 0, but as a very, very low value, okay? Okay, another things I would remind in this case, In this case, about the hardware, just remember that the G4430 and the portable G4500 allows you from the PQZip recording page to change the FFT mode. So you can switch between this effect, of course, the harmonic and the spectrum measurement, because for current, for example, it will toggle between only 256 harmonics to 512, depends on the FFT mode you select. Any questions about the spectrum?
No.
Okay.
No.
Juan and Paulo, great. Elon?
No, I'm okay.
So the next one is the event view, and this is a table. For the event, you can select among 4 possible type of events. The first one, system, I will explain. System is basically when the device detects a power loss, power supply loss. So as you remember, the device still is not immediately turned off, but you have additional ride-on-turn power loss, 10 seconds or 25 seconds, depends. So you will be able to see the log, all of the logs when the device is turned off. For example, when time synchronization is lost, for example, when clamp is connected, many system-related events. Then you have the power quality, which is what we are here for, to monitor the power quality. So those will be dip, over voltage, rapid voltage change, flicker, harmonic. This kind of events will be classified as power quality. Then we have digital in-out and analog in-out and relays. Okay, depends if you have such on your device. For example, the G4K fix, you will have those if you have a multi-IO card. And then we have the custom. We did not discuss the advanced features of the G4K, and you have this also in the DFR. You do not have this in the Pure because you have no web interface, but in the web interface of DFR, the G5 and the G4, you can configure a custom event. For example, if power factor is below 0.9, and XOR, NOR, some logical combination with even with the pressure or temperature. So this can create a custom event. In G4K, you can configure 32 such custom events. It will be logged as event 201 until 232. So there is a reserve 32 events that you can configure as custom events in the G4K. In G5, I don't remember exactly the code of the event, but you can do also those. Okay, so let's select power quality events, and I will hit the next. Okay, remember I zoomed into 10 minutes. So let's make it for an event chart. I probably would like to see something like 1 month.
Tomer,
Yes.
only one question. When I do a task based at event, where the file is stored?
You mean the configuration of the task?
Yes.
Or the export? The configuration is depends if you have the license you are using. All of the configurations and everything related your installation is installed under C. And
sorry, Tomer, sorry. No, when I export to CVS, for example.
The exported file?
Yes.
I'm not sure what's the default, but you can configure any, I believe you can configure any destination or path that it will be stored when you do the task.
I did not able to do this.
We are jumping ahead a little bit, but let's quickly take a look. If I click the tab, because I'm not sure Juan and Elon already familiar with this feature of task, like export task. But I'm telling you,
I don't.
it's
didn't hear
very
it.
simple. The concept is that you have the database as processed, the result of the processed PQZip file. You have the database and all of the readings. You can export it. You can export it back to PQZip to compress it, or you can export it to PQDIF format file, or Excel, or CSV, or Comtrade, etc. So when you configure such task, the conditions to trigger it, for example, or from start time to end time, the resolution of the parameter, a lot of, not a lot, but some things need to be configured when you configure such task. It just takes too much. Takes too much, Paolo, and it takes a little bit out or ahead, let's say. Not sure why it's take too much.
I am asking if it for you because the customer asked me some help to do this. I do, but I am not sure about where the file will be saved, stored.
Let's say, I also not sure. Okay, this is a single task run. I think to do trigger one, you need to have enterprise server, maybe. I hit the next. I select the start time and the end time. I select the component, I believe. Okay, running time, I can schedule it to run in a specific time.
Okay.
And let's take this one. I can take periodic only or periodic and events, and then we'll export it to Excel with 2 sheets. And then I can select a parameter. This is the low resolution. Okay, let's take the low resolution, 10 minutes, or a different resolution. Sorry. Selected anything. Okay. I do not, I'm not need necessary to do all of the pages. So in this case, I only want low resolution. So high resolution, I will skip. Also the waveform, you can see you can have, by the way, pay attention if you do a task for a very high resolution, the server will not export more than 1 million points.
Yes, yes, I know.
If you take 1024 samples per cycle, do not request 1 week or 1 day or 1 year.
Yes, it's very big.
Yeah, maybe a second is okay, but or less than second, but not more. Okay, next. Okay. Next. Oh, you are correct. I do not see any. Let's go again.
I did it on real time.
Okay, here.
But the page is
Paolo, on the first page, if you use the advanced file saving option.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what you are looking for. I did not.
Perfect.
So you can set here, and furthermore, this is an example you can see, and you can also use these letters N, V, Y, so it will save it in a format of a year folder. Then you have a month folder. Under the month, you will have days folder. So you can do it also as follow, and you can make some kind of library. Okay.
Okay.
If it is not the default, then I believe that when you do the task, I made the task now. You see it is running. I think a right click or maybe you can download it from here. You can also open. Not sure how you can see the location.
You do now.
Sorry. Here. This is the location.
If you see, yeah. You can also do save as, and then you will see.
Yeah. So this is the location.
Perfect, Tomer. Perfect.
Okay.
This is enough.
Yeah, there is a lot, probably for my old exports. Anyway, let's go back.
Great.
Otherwise, we will not finish the investigation module today. We talked about generating charts. We talked about trend, grid, spectrum, and event. So about the event, you have a few columns. So you can see the type of event, the name of event. You can see which phase was affected. Okay, so trying to expand this column, but in some of those you can see V1 to N, in some of those you can see even 2 or 3 phases. Here, let me expand, maybe it will indicate. So you can see V2N, but in this case, you will see more than one phase, both V1 and V3. Then you have the severity. You see the severity column?
Yes, we see.
Okay, so
Yes.
the severity, I just had a ticket this week asking what is the severity. The severity is an index from 0 to 255. If the event has higher severity, it will have 255, and if less severity, then it will be towards 0. The index is defined according to the 2 parameters, the duration, which is the difference between end time and start time, and deviation. So if we take a look at this event, we can see the duration was half a cycle, okay, approximately 10 milliseconds, and the deviation was 204 volts. That's if it's 230. So you can see it is approximately 11.3% from nominal. Okay, you can see this event is just 10%, and this event is 15% from nominal. Okay.
Okay.
And now you can, what I've done, I grouped. You can group specific events by drag and drop the header of the column. Then I have only dips here, or I have transient events here. Only one, but if I will click on this one, I will get a view of this event. Okay, so this is the event we are talking about. Okay, this is the measurement, the upper one. Just to remind you, this is the harmonics, only harmonics without the fundamental. Okay, so if we have a perfect clean sine wave, we will have 0, constant 0 here. This is the fundamental, and this is like a superposition, like placing both together. So this is the actual measurement, the upper one. Okay, let's see what are the possibilities we have with the event chart. We can export to Excel. We can have save columns order as default if we change it. You can separate PQ events. You can display oldest event first. You can set maximum events to display. You can show masked events. And this is maybe something to explain. There's also the flag data to explain. So in case there is a dip or interruption, so in this specific period, in this specific window, events can be ignored or showed. It's according to your, there's a checkbox in the instrument web user interface. You can use this checkbox to instruct the device to ignore power quality events in case there is a dip or interruption. So you can show the flag data or hide the flag data. And you can also filter events by component data availability. Okay. Any questions about the event chart?
No?
Okay. Elon, Juan?
No, no, no.
Perfect. Next one. Okay, unit depot is, I don't think we should very focus on this one. It is specifically for the EN5160. Okay, for you, Paulo and Elon, maybe we should just explain. But the unit depot is basically a table showing the events separation over this period, the period that you selected. The rows is the deviation. If, for example, a dip dropping by 20% or by 50%. And the columns is the duration. So as you can see, the first column is half a cycle up to 10 cycles. The second column is 10 cycles to 25 cycles, and so on. Okay?
Okay, do you need to plus the column 1 and column 2?
If I can merge?
No, the time, the duration.
You can see here, this is the first column is between 10 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds, and the second one is 10 to 25 seconds, which is 200 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. Your question is if you can modify this?
Ah, okay. Now I understood. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, so it's the duration. The duration is from the start of the event until the end of the event. It can be 10.
Okay, so it means you have 19 events between 10 and 200. And the value was the more than 80%. This is what it means.
Yeah, the drop is between 10 to 20%.
Okay.
So it's, for example, it is a dip of 16% drop.
Yeah.
And the duration of the event was 25 milliseconds, for example.
And this happens, such events happens 19 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during this period, okay, this is not typical, it's 1 month. Usually the EN5160 deals with 7 days.
I guess it's the table according to the standard.
Yeah. So in this case, that's the compliance, the European EN5160.
Okay.
The next chart. This is statistics. This is an interesting chart. It's very interesting for distribution companies. Let's take, for this case, frequency. The standard use 10 seconds frequency, but we, in Elspec, we also offer 10, 12 cycles and even cycle by cycle. Let's take the 10, 12 cycles. Let's close this one. Even I will limit the period to 7 days. 7 days. So this is the statistics chart. You have a few things you would like to note here. First of all, as you can see on the same graph, you have 3 axes. Okay, you have the one that's indicating the value. In this case, the nominal is 50 hertz. So you can see diverse or how far or the deviation towards 49.8 or towards 50.2, etc. Then on the left side, okay, on the left side, you can see the axis in percentages that refer to the bars, to the fat bars, okay? And that means if I will stand on one of those bars, I will see this is refer to all values, all measured values. Okay, let me do it the following. When I'm saying all measured values, so this is the number of values, 54,690s, that I have values in this period from the 5th January until the 12th January. Okay, sorry. Let me, this is from January to February. Let me take 1 week, so we said before. Okay, so the counts are 10,078 values. Okay, this is the number of values we have in this period. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is the name of the parameter. And then we have this number, which is 2 for flag data count. Now, remember that I told you that in case there is a specific event, the system can or cannot, according to the user definition, ignore those values. So
Yes.
we have two values which are being ignored. Okay.
Okay.
And now the average is 50.006. The minimum reading is 49.81 and the maximum reading is 50.19. Standard deviation we have, okay? Now the next side is the 5% low and 95% high. This is a concept that many times we use in the compliances. Now, Ilona, I think you missed the last time the part we discussed the power quality. In case you would like to close this gap, because power quality module is an important module, I think especially per your position. And this is the capability to generate compliance reports. Compliance reports is many times needed as part of the relationship between the utilities or the producer to the consumers, which is can be industrial sites or any customer. And in many times, they need to hand a weekly report to the managers or to the employees or to the producer or to the consumer. So this, in Europe, it is the EN 5160, but some countries also modified it, like in Hungary, they modified it a little bit. In Norway, they modified it a little bit. There are other compliances in China, in South Africa, in Brazil, and some other countries. But most of Europe following the EN 5160. Now, the chapters of those reports, for example, the frequency chapter, usually in most those each chapter is about a different parameter. So you have a chapter for frequency, you have a chapter for flicker, you have a chapter for harmonics. And in many of those, if we take the frequency, for example, the site or the report should indicate that you comply. In many cases, there are two levels. One level, which is very strict, like plus minus 0.5%, for example. You need to be comply 99% of the time of the week. And the more strict and the less strict conditions require 100% of the time. Okay, so we have two conditions. One, for example, 95% of the time, and the other one is 100% of the time. So here, where you see the 5% low, is basically means that if you have let's make it round, 10,000 readings. So this is the minimum of the 95% highest, or this is the maximum of the lowest 5%. Okay, so basically you are removing the lowest reading, the 5% lowest readings, and vice versa with the 95%. So this is you're basically ignoring the highest 5%. So obviously, this is the maximum, the absolute maximum. The reading here will be a little bit higher than the readings you see here. Okay, and the same, this is the absolute minimum, so it will be a little bit lower than what you see here. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we now understand the lower part. And now let's go back to here. So this fat bar indicate us how many readings or values within this week from those 10,000 readings were between 50 to 50 to 50 hertz and 20 millihertz. So you can see there are 30.74% of the readings. So that's like 3,000 readings. Okay. And here, between 49.943 to within those about 20 millihertz. In this 20 millihertz, you had 3.19% of the readings. And then we have this this line. Okay, so the line basically means as you move right, you go higher with the frequency, even to 50.086, okay? So 99.86% of the values were below this value. And the 0.14% were above this value. So obviously we will get to 100 here. Now I can zoom in, and then I will get even a better resolution. And each bar will not be 20 milliseconds, but 7 millihertz, but 7 millihertz. You can even zoom a little bit more and get even finer resolution. Okay, so it's provide you a very nice statistic tool. Of course, it can be used for RMS, for power factor, for not just for frequency, and also for frequency for other bases, not just 200 milliseconds, but also the 10 second, etc. Then you have the menu here, and it's pretty useful here. Now I can back to default range from global. Before that, can you see the line? So the line now is not getting to, it start not from 0 and it's not ending in 100. Here even you can see it goes from approximately 7.4 to approximately 22%. I can switch this, the range mode, to global mode, and then it will normalize per this specific view to show me 0 up to 100%. So it's only take into consideration the values within this frequency readings. Okay, clear?
Okay.
Okay. Then we can go back to default view, to the initial view here. And maybe one, okay, include flag data. Remember, we told you it is ignoring 2 readings. In some cases, it can be much more, but here only 2, but you can include the flag data. Then the 10,078 turns to be 10,080. Or Sorry, it was not 10,800. It was, let me take, I think it's much more than the, I'm not sure how can I expand this. But okay, you understand the flag data concept. Then you have change percentage value. Don't remember what is this. Okay. So we talked about the 5% and 95%. You can also switch this to 2%. So then you will see the 49.951 hertz change to 49.943. Also, you can change the 95% to something else as well. No, sorry. This one. 5. Set number of ranges. Okay, let me zoom in. And you can see I can, by default, I think we have 24 bars, but we can change it to have more bars. So if I have 20, I can, for example, put the maximum, but it's 48, but let's say it's 50. So now you can have much more bars. Okay, high statistics data. Okay, this is pretty clear. Any questions about the statistics chart?
No, for me, it's very basic.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I have a question, Tomer.
Yes.
Just a general one to understand. Only I think managers maybe in a company would like to see statistics. I don't know, what is give you a general overview of the health situation of your equipment?
I guess first you can get an indication of what's the edges. Maybe you would like to see how many times it repeat for the generation frequency. If you talk, so it's usually generation companies is more interesting in that. For RMS or voltage or I know this is important. First of all, you can find it in the compliance. You missed the last session. We talked about the compliance, but if you will take a look at the report, I can just show you an example here of a power quality report that you will see a lot of, generally in this industry, if you are not so much for person like a counselor or somebody who investigating a specific event. For those, the statistic is not really needed. But those who would like to monitor the performance of the network, it will be more important. And if we take a look at the EN5160 example here, Paulo, you have a question?
No, Elon is nearby me, and I can explain it for him.
Okay. Yeah, as you can see, the EN5160, it's pretty basic to use. This is the frequency definition for the chapter for fail or pass. So you can see it looks for 50 hertz plus minus 1%. Okay, this is 49.5 and 50.5. And they request this to be comply 99.5% of the week. Okay, so this is the maximum and this is the minimum. And they also, you know, if you take 99.5% of the week, so it's not an indication that the network is good or bad, because is good, because in 0.5%, maybe you have a blackout. הפסקת חשמל, so this is a bad network, though they maybe comply with this 99.5% of the time. So therefore, you need also the second condition. It's okay, you can be a little bit out of these boundaries, but not less than 47 hertz and 52 hertz, which is -6 and +4. So as you can see, this is not randomly, this is an important parameter to use those percentages and statistics. This is by all compliances. It's needed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is an example. So a little bit we talked. I think that's good that we go, because that's shortly about what we discussed last time, maybe 1 hour. So the next one, this is the statistics. Then we have scatter events. Okay, for scatter events, this is according to standard. Now, this is a type of a graphical representation of the events. According, yeah, Sibema is one of these. Let's take a look. So if we take all of the events, let me zoom again out to have a little bit more events than only those two. So as you understand, every point is an event. Now, there are some different standards. For example, for semiconductor industry, there is remember which one of those, but one is for semiconductor industry, where they found a relationship between faults they have in their fabs, like, you know, like production of chips or memory instruments, like Taiwan Semiconductor, like Texas Instrument, like Intel, like Toshiba, Samsung, etc. So they found a relationship. So they implement some kind of graphical representation. Let me look for the one, for example, with this. I think this was the, I don't remember the NRS. Okay, so this is another one. So here they have a region, the pink region is for swells. This one is for sustained interruption, momentary interruption, under voltage. Z2 it has its own definition, T, S, X2, Y, Z, and swells. Just to explain, the y-axis is the reference to nominal. Okay, so if the grid is perfect, for example, 400 volt or 230, it will be constantly here. There will be no events. And if it's 10% drop, it will be below this line, okay? And the y-axis, as you can see, is the time, but this note that this is a logarithmical chart, okay? So this is 100 milliseconds, but this is 3 minutes. It's logarithmical. So this event is the longest one. This event is the highest deviation from nominal. Yes, Paulo, you have a question?
Yes. I am very interested in this. When these parameters can be changed. If
Yes.
I customize my report, this chart will be different.
You know, actually, it's not exactly. Those standards are fixed.
Yes.
But you can design another one. You can design another one, and just to define, this is an XML file that probably sit under I never dealt with specifically with the scatter events, but I know how it works for other charts. You can find it somewhere here. Basically, this is an XML file. You can define it as a mathematical function or something that is shown on the, like the one we've seen before. We looked before at sorry, we looked before. There are differences. This is the one I talked about, semiconductors. But yes, you can define the line where each region will be shown. Okay?
How to do this?
This is an XML file that sits, I'm not sure where. Just a minute. עודד, שאלה קטנה. אני בוובינר שם עם אנשים והם העלו פה שאלה, אני רק רוצה להראות להם איפה זה יושב. בסקאטר איבנט, אם אני רוצה להוסיף סקאטר איבנט נוסף עם איזושהי פונקציה מתמטית כזאת, אתה יודע שהאיבנטים מורים על x של לוגריתמיקל צ'ארט ו-y של reference to nominal. אתה יודע על מה אני מדבר? סקאטר איבנט, יש לי סיבמה, ITIC, נכון? NRS. איפה זה יושב ה-XML שמתאר את הפונקציה המתמטית? לא, זה לא קשור לקומפליינס, לא ל-IN וכל אלה. זה קשור לסטנדרט, NRS, סמי 47, אתה זוכר, אחד מהצ'ארטים שזה הסקאטר צ'ארט, סקאטר איבנט, יש שם נקודות על הצ'ארט. אז איפה יושב התיאור? הרי יש שם איזשהו קווים כאלה שמסמנים לי טריטוריות שונות. איפה זה יושב? אני עכשיו באפ דאטה נגיד. כן. זהו, גם אני חשבתי שאני יודע ולא מצאתי. לא, להוסיף חדש, כאילו. איפה זה יושב? רק באיזה פולדר? אני לא הולך עכשיו להסביר את זה, אבל... תגיד. אין כזה דבר? לא לשנות, אני רוצה להוסיף חדש. אם לקוח רוצה להוסיף חדש. אז צריך... אני גם בוובינר עכשיו, אני לא אתחיל לעשות טלפונים לכולם. אוקיי, בסדר. טוב, ביי. Okay, guys, I don't want to let you wait while I'm speaking. It's not as straightforward as I thought, but you definitely can provide us the conditions and we will do it for you, or maybe I can, if it's important for you, I can check how can you do this.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, so just one more thing, you also have the custom one. And for the custom one, you can specifically choose one of the standards, the layers, and split to different type of events. Okay, next one. So we have the scatter parameters. Scatter parameters basically allows you to select a parameter in reference to another parameter. So we can take the active power as the x-axis, and take the y parameter as the, for example, as the reactive power. And sometimes you get a very interesting size of the information. Okay, not in this case, but you can maybe change. And let's take the y-axis as the RMS, something with with power factor maybe. You can get some nice behaviors. For example, one of our counselor here made some research for a customer about low efficiency laser for medical applications. So there was some very interesting sites or conclusions from that. So, but basically the principle here is that you select the y-axis and the x-axis and take currents against voltage, etc. Questions about this?
No?
Okay, the menu here is pretty clear. What's the filter on? I don't remember. Okay, so this is to show just specific parameters if you would like to filter some. But I didn't spoke about the menu in the scatter event in the previous one. Okay, but I guess you want me to go back to the scatter event to talk about the menu, this chart menu? Maybe it's a little bit different. Should I go back? Okay, I will. So if I take the CBEMA, so here, let me see if there is something we did not talk about. No, that's pretty clear or similar to the ones we already discussed before. So the next chart will be the phasor chart. Okay, for phasor, similar like as for spectrum, I would take a very short period. What's going on? Phasor, and I can select a specific those I would like. And for example, the angles. And you can see here the angles. Just know that we always sync per V1. So V1 is always with the G4K at least is always the reference. Okay, so this is the current I1 against V1 when V1 is the 0, and then you have I2 and I3. You can actually change to set the 0 origin to 6 o'clock or to or back to 3 o'clock. You can also show limit series, and this is about the amplitude. So you probably can see here the amplitude is this 200. And here this is 10. This is the amplitude, not the angle. And you can change this for example, to 100. Okay. Or to change this to 50, for example. Okay. Normalized display mode as well, and you have also, okay, the rest is pretty clear. Any questions about the phasors?
No?
Okay. The next one is the energy chart. Okay, for the energy chart, in order to explain it well, I will open a new investigation, not just a new chart. And I will take Elspec Betchean, Elspec North America, Elspec Portugal. I will take let's take 2 days. Change the resolution. Again, the automatic is the number of pixels or the data duration, start to end, in this case 48 hours, divided by the number of pixels. So the 3 minute is the best, is not the best possible, but then I guess will be 1 minute. But the automatic will adjust it per the exact best resolution possible with this number of pixels. So it can be 1.5 minutes or 1.2 minutes. And if you will zoom in, you will even have a much lower, even cycle by cycle or so. Actually, for energy, it's down to 1 minute. But for RMS, all those is per cycles. So I will hit the next. Energy. You can select different here. Okay. Let me just, it show only Portugal. Want also, I thought I select 3. Let's show. Energy. And also North America. Okay, and I also would like, oh, wow, it was not recorded on the last, on the same day. I'm looking for, okay, here that I can compare. Not sure what's going on with North America. Maybe they have only voltage connected and do not have current, so there is no energy. It's okay. Here we can take this. When there is in North America, there is nothing in Portugal and Israel. They not have a good example for you guys, but let me look a little bit more. Okay. Now I would like to change just אורן, מעניינים. אני בדיוק בוובינר עם פורטוגל וקולומביה. כן.
היו.
אוקיי, אבל זה לקח להיות איזה חצי שעה ככה, אבל בסדר. Sorry, it was from R&D.
Hi, Tomer. How are you doing?
Hugo, how are you?
Fine. And you?
I'm great. Just heard a different noise, a different voice.
Yes. Just come to spy a little bit.
No problem. we actually at the end now, and most of this you know.
Yes.
But okay, you are welcome.
Yeah.
Hugo comes to spies on me. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're talking about energy, but not what you requested, but not the energy model. This is the energy chart. So I'm just showing here what is the energy chart. So I just the colors is the same. So I will change the color to a different color. I will merge all by drag and drop the parameter. So here. The green one is Israel. It's just like eating the others. So it's difficult. Okay, maybe let's do the following. And here you can see both. But basically, if you see, I also made some kind of synchronization in time. So it took exactly 24 hours. And we have here 48 bars. The default is 48 bars. You can also change this from client settings. But each one of those you can see is 30 minutes energy consumption in. Okay, I can put it back. I can export to Excel here. And if I will export to Excel, I will get the exact reading for energy for 30 minutes in each one of those measurement points. So you can see for midnight, and then midnight and 30 minutes, 1 o'clock, then 1:30, 2 o'clock. Okay, so you can see that North America are very lazy, I see. But you can see that Israel is working full power, and Portugal, they have this peak. Okay, anyway, so this is about the energy chart. Any question about the energy chart?
No, no.
Okay, perfect. So the next chart will be the cyclic histogram. Hugo, are you familiar with the cyclic histogram? Actually, it's very rarely in use. If there's one chart which is maybe not, so maybe it's this one. Are you familiar with this one?
No.
I see. Okay, yeah, it's not so much in use. Let's go back here to this investigation. Actually, no. In order to demonstrate it, I prefer to get the cyclic histogram referred to the samples. So it's the only chart from all of the charts that is using the samples level, which is a very, very, very high resolution. Therefore, for such a resolution, it's better not to request 1 day or 1 hour or one month. It will take a very long time to get response. So I will select a transient event. Actually, I prefer another one. Not that it's totally dropped, but one that this one as well. Okay, but let's take this. No. Sorry, another one. I'm looking for a good example to explain this chart. Okay. So let's open a cyclic histogram. Let me even zoom out here before doing so. There's no big disturbance here, just okay. So I will choose a cyclic histogram chart. And this is a feature we've been requested to implement about 3 or 4 years ago from APRI, it's an organization. Not sure if you're familiar. Choose one of the phases. And here, basically, what you can see is if you look, actually, I will zoom out again. So here, what we see is the x-axis is the samples. So you can see 1024 samples here. So imagine a columns of 1024 like a cubes, and the y-axis is the value. Okay, so it's implemented in some kind of, imagine a matrix that you have rows and columns, and which with each cycle you mark the cubic that the sample is within, and like a counter, it's increased. Now, this increased in the counter is basically using this color index below. Okay, so where you see the blue ones, it's repeating very low, and here we have about 600 cycles. Okay, maybe you will see it better if I will change the background color to black, maybe. Can you see it now?
Yes, it's better.
Yes.
Okay, and I will change here to longer period. Actually, I'm not sure the example I took is very good. This is a very, very messy, not a soccer player, very, very messy signal.
Yeah.
Actually, I prefer to take another example. Let's do the following. Okay. I will add a chart here. To see the events, only power quality events. I will delete this, and I would like to see here one. When I'm looking for an event, I cannot find usually events if I'm looking at 1 minute or 2 minutes. I would take more. So as you can see, for each chart, you might need to adjust your what you are looking for. Now, if I will group this, I will have here is a transient. Okay, and I will open this transient. I think that's the one I've seen before, and this is a very good one to demonstrate the cyclic histogram. Yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. So as you can see, the middle one is the harmonic. This is only the disturbances when you're ignoring the fundamental. The lower one is the fundamental, and the upper one is the one that was recorded. Okay, so now if I will open a cyclic histogram chart, you will be able to see it very well. Just let me see V1. The disturbance is in V1. Let me again change the background color. Okay. Now let me know if you can see the points in here. Can you see it on the remote, on the desk, on the sharing option?
No, Tomer.
You cannot see it?
No.
I cannot see it. But I only see the line itself.
Yeah, the line is because we are now looking at 2 cycles. It's pretty clear, but I just believe me that it goes probably the 2 cycles, one go as expected, while the other one has some kind of disturbance here. Okay. Sorry, maybe to switch to. Yes, I have a presentation, but maybe you will see it better. No, not so much. Okay, let's go back to black.
Now I can see it.
Okay. So you can see here some kind of differences. So basically, the cyclic histogram, what it comes to show you is the diversion of the samples. Okay. Now, if I will take a much longer time, now just it will take the response time will be a little bit lower. So you can see the index color. And if I will take it even more, now we are looking at 27,000 cycles. And now I am asking for 20 minutes more. So we are basically looking at half an hour. And you will see this is the color index. So you can even see a repetition probably in few different locations. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So that's definitely this type of chart. I don't think it's suitable for the common customer. And that's why even Hugo, you're not familiar with that, and Paulo, because I don't know about many customers who use it, but that's also one of the charts we provide. So we covered most of, okay, just about the cyclic histogram, about each one of the charts. I show you the different type of options in the menu. So here the special one is maybe the normalized display mode. Okay, so you can see it when it is normalized. Okay, so the next chart is the summary. And the summary basically just show you over, similar to the grid, but the grid show you is like show you per specific period, like 10 times in an hour or so. And here it's just showing you over the full period, what is the minimum, the maximum, for example, if and the average. So here we take a look at 30 minutes. So within these 30 minutes, you can see the minimum for V1, the maximum for V1, the average, and the same for V2 and V3. Okay, so we covered the charts. Just to remind you, and just stop me in one of those if you have a specific question. So we have the trend chart. X-axis is the time, and y-axis is the value. You can also normalize it in reference to nominal. Then we have the grid, is a table. Just show you, you define the resolution and show you the min, max, and average for every period. Then we have the spectrum. We can see the harmonics. We also explained that in case you use Express, you only see 50 harmonics. In case you have a licensed software, you can see it per the hardware spec. So if it's a 1024 samples per cycle, you will see according to Nyquist half 512. If it's 512, you will see 256. Okay. Then we talked about the events. Okay, we talked about what is the severity, what is the possibilities in the chart of this one, and what is a flagged data or not flagged data. We also mentioned this and the mask events. Then we talked about UNIDEPE, which is specifically regards the EN5160. Then we talked about statistics. You also had some questions about what is a possible application for this. So we also talked about this, and we talked about how to do some playing around with this. And as I said, this is very interesting usually for distribution companies. Then we talked about the scatter events. I need to check for you guys about how to implement a new standard. Definitely we can do it with R&D, but if you have the tools to do so in XML to put some kind of function, mathematical graphical function or parabola or something. So I think this is possible, but I need to check exactly how and where. Then we talked about scatter events, phasors, energy, and cyclic histogram. Any questions about any one of those?
No?
Okay. We finished with the investigation module. I plan today also to go over the system, the configurations of the server and the components, but it's already 5 o'clock here. So in Portugal, I guess this is 4 o'clock, and in Colombia, it's 10 o'clock. So
3 o'clock in Portugal.
Sorry, it's
3 o'clock here. 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Okay, 2 hours.
Yeah.
7 p.m. here.
But anyway, in all 3 countries, it's already about 2 hours since we start. So
Yes.
I think we will not speak the system today. But what we still have in I see the G4K took one session, and for the Sapphire is already 3 sessions. So we'll need another session to talk about the energy model and about the system model.
Yeah.
And also I need to explain about the task mechanism. We mentioned this today, but that's something we should talk about. So that's what we will do in the next session. Wednesday, is it okay?
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Yes, should be okay.
Any questions about anything we discussed on the last few sessions? The G4K, the configuration, how to set it up, the architecture of the system with the devices, communication, server, client, and about the Pikiskata Sapphire software?
No, Tomer.
Okay, perfect. That's good.
From my side, the only thing I think it's a little bit different because it's more related to sales. But I will welcome any case study that we will talk about. So I will get a real feeling who should be the client and which kind of clients really need this kind of solution.
I see. Yeah. Actually, that can be nice adjustment. Actually, not just for my side. If Paulo or Hugo, if you will be in the next session, if you have a case study or something, you can tell everybody about a specific project. It can be nice, or a specific benefit of using the equipment. It can be nice because I think in the website, we have mostly case studies for the solutions.
Yes.
Okay, that's monitoring. Yeah.
I will check.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I will make another webinar for next week at 3 o'clock.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Tomer.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Tomer.